Hey guys, it's Jordan. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to do a story time about my first house party that I ever went to. Hopefully the story's not on the longer side. I kind of told this story on TikTok before, but I'm going to give you guys all the details because I had to, restrict some of the stuff I was saying, like, for TikTok. But okay, so this happened when I was 14, and my parents were never strict or anything like that, but there was just certain stuff that, like, I knew I couldn't do that I wanted to do. So if I wanted to do it, I would go to my friend's house. Like, they would let me go hang out with my friends all the time, but as far as, like, going to parties, they were probably like, no. Like, no, what do you need to be partying for? You're 14. So I went to this I asked to go to this girl's house, and my older sister was downstairs. And my older sister looks at me and goes, well, I know where you're going. But my parents were downstairs. Like, I had asked, I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, I'll see you there. Because she knew that I wanted to go to that party. Like, it was gonna be packed. Like, you've seen the flyer on everybody's, like, stories. Like, this party was about to be a party. So I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, I'll see you there. And she just walks upstairs. And my dad and my mom knew the girl whose house I was going to, so they didn't really care. They were like, okay, whatever, that's fine. You just need to text me when you get there, like, be safe, whatever. So I'm like, okay. And she lived right by me, so I could, like, walk to her house. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna walk to her house. But when I say right by me, I mean, like, right by me. Like, my parents could literally, like, see if we were leaving the house. Like, I mean, really close to me. Like, not on my street or anything, but, like, really close to me. So I'm like, okay, I need to plan this out, and I need to plan this out good. So I go to her house, whatever, and I had a boyfriend at the time. So I'm texting my boyfriend, and I'm, like, sending him, like, a picture. I'm like, oh, should I wear this? Should I wear this? And he's like, no, don't wear that. Just, he was, like, I think he was 16 and I was 14. So he, trying to be, like, authority, And I'm like, no, I'm going to wear this. And he's like, don't wear that. So I'm mad at my boyfriend now. So I'm like, okay, I really want to go to this party now. And so two of her other friends had came. The girl's house I was at, two of her friends had came. Like, they weren't my friends. Like, I knew them, but those were her homegirls, not mine. So we end up getting ready to go to the party. Okay, well, my phone fell, so that's really irritating. But anyway, so yeah, her older sisters were going to get ready to go to the party. So we're all ready to go to the party, right? And her mom is like, okay, I'm going to take you guys to the party. Like, I don't want to pick y'all up too late. So I want to say she took us to the party at, like, 9 o'clock. So we get in the party. At first, it wasn't a lot of people, but it was people. Like, it was like, oh, okay, this is decent. This is a cool turnout, whatever. So then the party starts filling up with more people, whatever. At one point, the party had got, like, so crowded, like, we tried to go outside, and the boys whose party it was, like, his mom was there. It was a birthday, like, bash. Like, it was heck of people. His mom was like, y'all gotta go in the house, because there was just so many people. If we were all outside, like, they would have called the police on us. So we go back in the house, and I run into my sister, and, like, I'm like, that's what she meant by I'll see you there. So my sister's, I literally have videos on my Snapchat of this, like, night. I wish I could put it on here, but I can't. So I have, like, my sister. My sister's dancing. She's twerking, whatever. Everybody's dancing. Like, it's just cool vibes. They have, like, a dice game going in the back. Like, it was just cool vibes, good vibes. But like I said, hella people in there. And when hella people get around each other, you already know it's bound to be people that have, like, beef or who want to fight or, like, gang stuff. Like, just hella people, hella problems. So, like, they started playing BPT by YG, I think. And I love YG. So I'm like, BPT. Like, I'm going, like, I'm singing the song. I love YG. So I guess some people started singing a remix to it. But, like, for their set, like, their, like, gang. I was gonna say club. For their gang. But I wasn't hearing that part because I'm into the YG. Like, I'm into the real song. So, like, they have that going off in another section, and you just, like, hear the music, like, turn off, and they're like, and you, like, the mom comes in, because, like I said, she was outside by the door. She comes in and she's like, everybody shut up, like, stop talking. And somebody tried to leave, and she was like, get the fuck back, everybody stay in the house and shut up. And I guess the boys that had, like, were arguing, like, they started arguing outside or whatever, like, so they started arguing outside, or they got so loud and, like, took it outside, and somebody had called the police. So the police were outside. So she was telling us all to be quiet so that they would leave so we could keep like partying. So we're all being quiet, whatever. They leave. But then the people start arguing again, like somebody pulled like a gun or something. Like they pulled a gun or something. So the police come back. And the mom's like, everybody get the fuck out. Like, get out. Because there was hecka teenagers in there. Music loud as fuck. Like, they were going to get a ticket if we didn't leave. So the officer's like, anybody that doesn't have a ride home, you're getting a ticket for curfew. Because by this time, it's like 11 o'clock. And I'm pretty sure curfew for teenagers is, I honestly want to say like 9 or like midnight, but they didn't give a fuck. So they were like, everybody that doesn't have a ride home, you're getting a ticket. So we're like, girl, call your mom so we can go home. I was like, yeah, call your mom because my mom doesn't even know I'm here. So call your mom. So she like calls her mom, and her mom like comes and picks us up. And we came, like I said, we came with 4 of us, like me, her 2 friends, and then 2 of her sisters, I think. So there was like 6 of us plus her mom. And the girl was like, anybody that's not in the car, you're getting left. Like, I'm not gonna get a ticket for nobody, because like curfew tickets aren't like $20. Like a curfew ticket is like a little bit up there. So she's like, if you don't have, like, if you're not in that car. So anyway, so we get back to her house, and like I said, I had a boyfriend, and the girl whose house it was had a boyfriend too. But I was mad at my boyfriend, and I was 14. So these boys had hit up one of the girls and was like, oh, let me come scoop you and your homegirls, like, let's like all chill. And like this time it's like 11:30, maybe 11:15. And like I said, this girl's house is right next to mine. So I'm like, God forbid my parents are outside. God. So she's like, oh yeah, come scoop us. And the girl whose house it was like, oh, I'm not going. Like I'm on the phone with my boyfriend. Like, I'm not going. And I'm like, what the fuck? But I like wanted to go because I was 14. Like I wanted to do that. Like that seems so cool to go hang out with some older boys, because those boys were like 18. And like now looking back, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, why would I do that? But I was young. I was 14. I was dumb. So the boys come, they pick us up, and I'm just thinking like, oh my God, I don't want to drive past my house. Like, I don't want to drive past my house. So we make it past my house successfully, and I'm like, whew, okay. So then they're like, oh, let's go to get some food. So we go to McDonald's. We go to McDonald's or something like that. Was it McDonald's? I'm going to just say McDonald's. So we go to McDonald's, right? And the guy in the window had like messed up one of the boys' order. And the boy got mad. And he pulled out I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. He pulled out his blower. And I'm like, over a wrong order? Over a wrong order? I'm like, what the fuck do y'all got going on up in here? He's like, I swear to God, man, I'm finna go crazy. And I'm like, and I literally said from the back seat, over a drink. Because that's what it was. He messed up his drink. Not even his whole entire order, like his drink. I'm like, over a drink? He's like, because he doesn't respect me. Like, you know how boys be, just trying to show off in front of bitches. Like, just trying to look cool. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So he starts passing it around in the car. He passes it to the boy in the passenger seat. He passes it to one of the girls. And she tries to pass it to me because I'm in the middle. And I said, I don't want that murder weapon. No, thank you. And I like leaned back so she could pass it to the other girl. I'm like, what the fuck are we playing hot potato with a gun for? What are we playing hot potato with a blower for? Like, why are we passing that around? I'm like, what the fuck? So then he gets his food, whatever, and he starts driving back to, this is how I know I was so stupid, because I didn't get an address. I didn't know where we were going. I didn't know how far we were going. I didn't even know. I only knew one of the boys. I didn't even know who the driver was. Like, I had no idea who he was. So, we ended up, like, the boy's like, okay, we're about to go back to my house. And I'm like, okay, hopefully he doesn't live far. He didn't. He lived, like, probably, like, 7 minutes away. But he's speeding. So we got there in, like, 2 minutes. Like, he was doing 70 on a street. And by this time, like I said, he had hit us up at, like, 11:15, 11:30. So by this time, it's probably, like, 11:45 or 12 o'clock. We're all black. We're in a nice car. And you're speeding. Like, you are crazy. Like, you're crazy. I'm like, and even at that time, I was socially, like, aware of, like, we're black. We're teenagers. We're in a nice ass car. Like, this is way more dangerous than, like, we should be doing right now. Like, this is super dangerous. So I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, and I tell you, he was going like 70. And our streets, they're like 35. Like, our streets by residential neighborhoods are like 35. So I'm like, you are going like so fast. You're going so fast, man. So we ended up getting to his house and we walk in and I'm like, oh my God, this is a trap house. This is a trap house. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? So I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's fine. So one girl goes upstairs. Well, no, not at first. At first, we all went to the kitchen and they were like, they were smoking. He's like, y'all want to hit this? And I'm like, no, thank you. Because I was only 14. At that time, I wasn't doing all that. And plus, even if I was, I still wouldn't have, like, hit their shit. Because I don't know what y'all have in that. I don't even know you to be putting my lips on anything that you have your lips on. So I'm like, no, thank you. One of the girls does it. And the other girl's like, nah, I don't do that. So then we're all, like, chilling in the kitchen for a second. But then one girl goes upstairs with one of the boys. And there was, how many boys? When we got in the house, there was 2 other boys. So like I said, there was 2 boys in the car with us and there was 2 boys in the house. So there was 4 boys in total. One girl goes upstairs with one boy. I stay downstairs. Other girl stays downstairs. And then, so there's 3 boys down there with us. So we're just chilling, right? One of the boys is like staring at me. And one girl's like sitting on the boy's lap. The one boy's like, you don't want to come sit next to me? And I was like, no, thank you. Like, I'm fine. Because I was 14. Like, this was like my first time ever doing anything like this. I was so scared because my parents didn't know. I just felt so wrong. I felt so bad. So I'm like, no, thank you. And he's like, okay, like, all right, like, whatever. Like, you know how boys be when you like reject them. Like, oh, okay, whatever. So then, like maybe 30 minutes goes by and we hadn't heard anything from the girl upstairs. So keep in mind, this wasn't even my friend. And I'm like, we should go check on her. Her friend's like, she's fine. I'm like, she's upstairs. Like, she hasn't said anything to us. We should go check on her. She's like, okay. So we go up the stairs. There's a room right next to the stairs. There's an old woman in there. I'm like, I don't want to walk past this old lady's room. I don't. She's like, it's fine. Let's just go. And I'm really big on respecting other people's house. And I'm like, I just feel so disrespectful. I feel so disrespectful because I don't want to say hi to her. I did it. I really did it. So we walk past her room and we go to the door that the girls, like, we go to the room that the door, like, the girl's in, but the door's closed and it's locked. So we knock on it. And I'm like, hey, are you good? Like, you okay? Yeah, I'm good. And I'm like, all right, girl, like, I'm gonna text you because I had her on, like, social media. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna text you. She's like, okay, I'm good. So maybe like 20 minutes later after that, we had like went back downstairs. So like 20 minutes later, the boy from upstairs comes rushing down the stairs and he's like, we gotta go do something. He flipped the couch cushion and there was like a gun under the couch cushion. And I'm like, I've been sitting on that this whole time. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a good girl. I have no place in the trap. I'm pretty. That's not my job. I'm good to sit in the passenger seat and make Snapchats and hold money. I don't want to see the real shit. I don't want to see that. So I'm like, oh my God, what's going on here? So, they're like, okay, we're finna be right back. And I'm just thinking, like, I think they left. Did they leave one boy with us or did they all leave? I don't even fucking remember. But no, they all left. Because I remember one of the boys had texted me on Messenger and he's like, did I leave my phone there? And I'm like, he texted me from his friend's account. He's like, did I leave my phone there? And I'm like, oh yeah, like, it's on the couch. He's like, okay, make sure nobody steals my shit. Well, you left 3 bitches in your house that you don't even really know like that. Like, you clearly don't care about it too much. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So they come back and they're like, do y'all want to go home? And I'm like, yes, I want to go home. At this point, it's like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm 14. I'm like, bro. Like, I just felt so bad. I knew what I was doing was so wrong. I could not believe myself. But this was 4 years ago. But I could not believe, that's crazy. That was 4 years ago. But yeah, I could not believe myself. So we get back to the girl's house. I'm like, oh my God, bro, I cannot believe that. And he did like 70 the whole way back to the girl's house. And I'm like, oh my God. And the girl whose house it was, she was asleep. So we're like, how are we going to get back in this house? So we're blowing her up. We're like, open the door. She's like, oh, I left the window open for y'all. So we like climb in her window. Or we all climbed in her window or somebody climbed in and came in and locked the front door for us. One of those. I don't remember. But then the boys text one of the girls and they're like, y'all want us to come scooping, you want to come spend the night? And I said, well, you guys can go, but I'm not spending the night. I'm not going back there, babe. And he was like, oh, we'll drop you guys back off at 7 o'clock in the morning. You guys can go, but I'm not spending the night, babe. I had a very unfun experience. I didn't like any of that, actually. So no, I won't be spending the night. So yeah, that was my experience at my first house party, and everything that happened after it. All I can say is, if you are young, be young. Like, don't be doing stuff like that. Like, it's like, so when I think back at some of the stuff I used to do, I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, why would I put myself in such dangerous positions with people that I don't even know like that don't even care about me or my life? But yeah, that's the story time. Follow me on Instagram at Jordanairiyah and TikTok and Twitter at Jordan from Vegas with a Z. Bye guys.